I'm horror author Paul Edwards. Tonight I'm reading the Famous Monsters of Filmland 1970 Fearbook. I thought you might enjoy flipping through this vintage magazine with me. Together, let's see what kinds of monster kid goodness is in here. Famous Monsters of Filmland's 1970 Fearbook is off to a great start with this awesome Basil Gogos portrait of Bela Lugosi as Dracula. Basil Gogos was the artist who did almost 50 covers for this magazine, and his artwork was just stunning. A lot of times his paintings were better than the movie that they were portraying, but in this case he's portraying one of the classics, the Lugosi Dracula. And we're going to get the most incredible collection of horror photos ever seen in one magazine. Wow. All right, we better get going. The fear of the year is here. Famous Monsters 1970 Fearbook. Can you take it? I don't know. I thought I could. Now I'm kind of scared. Dracula returns. Another comeback for the thirsty count. Yeah, this is The Return of Dracula from 1958. This was a reasonably serviceable drive-in Dracula movie, but it had the misfortune to come out at virtually the same time as the big budget color Hammer film Horror of Dracula, which ran circles around Return of Dracula. If Return of Dracula had come out a year earlier, I think it would be remembered more, but it was completely overshadowed by the Hammer film. The plot of this one, it's a lot like a Hitchcock movie, actually. It's where Dracula has replaced a visiting relative from Eastern Europe that comes to visit a small American town and stay with its family, posing as one of the family members. And the residents of the town start dropping, and the teenage daughter that lives in the house slowly suspects that her visiting cousin Belloc is not really what he seems to be. This was basically the plot of a Hitchcock movie, Shadow of a Doubt, except instead of it being a murderer, it's a vampire. Well, spoilers. Now we know how it ends. That's okay. You knew Drac wasn't going to make it to the end of that. Invasion of the Saucer Men. I'm not crazy about a lot of Paul Blaisdell's designs, but I do like the Saucer Men. I think they're freaky. They're creepy. And I know that the movie is a science fiction horror comedy, but I still think that the aliens are pretty cool. Yikes. The hydrocephalic horror from the planet Mars. Hydrocephalic, there it is. Horror from the planet Mars. Yep, that's what it is. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, man. Are you telling me that wasn't a real monster all this time? It was an actor wearing a costume and a mask? Oh, man. There goes my childhood. I thought they had real saucer men in this thing. Oh, the she creature. The she creature is another Paul Blaisdell design. These are some well-known publicity images of the she creature. Once again, they're telling the whole story here, the story of the film. These were good because in the days before home video, the closest you could get to watching a movie at will would be if you had something like this, something like a picture book of it with the story that went along with it, with pictures from the film, and you could imagine you were watching the movie, basically. When they remade this film as Creature of Destruction, they had Les Tremayne playing this part. But I think this guy was pretty good at it. Sock a she creature and you go down like a sunken sub. Wow. A whale of a tale, the end of the she creature. But it wasn't completely the end of the she creature because they kept this costume after the movie was all done with production, and they used this costume in other things. I know it was in The Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow, and I think it was in something else too. Dinosaurus, peril from the prehistoric. This is where two dinosaurs, a Tyrannosaurus and a Brontosaurus, along with a caveman, get excavated and woken up in the modern world. Tyrannopower sure knows how to make a Brontosaur. Oh boy, got to ride on a dinosaur though. That's pretty awesome. Horror Castle. Come be a guest. You have nothing to lose but your mind. Wow. Yikes. The Phantom of the Operation. Get it? I know. I know. They've done better. Ooh, the mystery photo. The Munsters TV series had a feature film where the Munster family went to visit England. Oh, Eddie Munster with your little werewolf doll. If I remember right, they had a different actress playing Marilyn Munster in the movie than either of the actresses that played her in the TV series. There's Grandpa. Oh, Herman, you drag racing monster. You know, the Munsters drag racer car was called Dragula. That's where Rob Zombie's song title comes from. It was a drag racer. Dragula. The ABCs of aliens, creatures, and beasts. A is for Atwill, that sinister fella. B is for Boris, Block, Borland, and Bella. I couldn't even read that. C is for Cheney, Carradine, Cushing, Caligari, and cats. D is for dinosaurs and Dracula. One of them bats. Okay, I can't read this whole thing. How much of that can you take? Oh, but there's a teenage werewolf. What the heck is this? You asked for it. From Goliath and the Dragon. Oof. Horrors of Spider Island. Oh boy. Oh. Oh, I see. This is an artist's depiction of what they were going to have in the Time Machine movie, and then here's how it actually came out. This is like how it started, how it's going. I thought the Morlocks were pretty good in this movie. Oh boy, that's Vi from Tormented. The Neanderthal man. Your back issues are creepy. Vampires 3, starring Bela Lugosi. See? That's Forrest J. Ackerman, if there ever was one. So Bela Lugosi actually played 3 vampires on film. Obviously, he played Count Dracula in the 1931 Dracula. That's his career highlight. But he also played a vampire in a film called Mark of the Vampire, and another vampire in Return of the Vampire. 3 different vampires. They all even dressed the same with the black cape and everything, but they were different characters. I used to love Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Loved it. But if you watch it enough times, and if you watch Lost in Space, the real Lost in Space from the 60s, you'll see that they recycled monsters from one show to another. Oh, wow. Yikes. Oh, this is from The Werewolf, the 1957 movie The Werewolf. This movie sometimes gets overlooked. It's actually pretty good, mostly because the werewolf itself gets a whole lot of screen time, which is not true in a lot of 50s movies where they only show you the monster for, a couple of minutes total of screen time. The werewolf got a lot of screen time in that movie. Ooh, poor Gilman. Yikes. This is from Adventure at the Center of the Earth, not to be confused with Journey to the Center of the Earth. Adventure at the Center of the Earth. Ugh. I would yell at her to look behind her, but considering how long ago this picture was taken, it's already way too late. Monster, 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 Bridget Bardot, Steve McQueen. One of these. The Beatles' Yellow Submarine. Oh, and Archie's car. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and they have the flying sub. But I would have wanted the sea view itself when I was a kid. I loved the sea view. And they did have a model of the sea view, but the flying sub sold better. But I would have wanted the sea view. Night of the Vampire, huh? You can get the Days of the Comet and the Night of the Vampire. You get the whole day covered. Horror decals. Yeah. You know how these things are, though. They give you like 2 or 3 really good ones, and then the rest are filler. Oh, this is a little interesting, though. Original soundtrack narrative from Universal's greatest monster movies, narrated by Boris Karloff himself. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? Spoken words from Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, The Wolfman, House of Frankenstein, and All About the Monster. So this must be like clips of dialogue from the different films with some narration interspersed by Karloff. That sounds pretty good. Did any of you ever hear this album? I never heard this album. Now I'm going to have to track it down. Well, let me know in the comments if you ever heard it and if I'm right about what it is. Okay. Well, we're about to come to the end of our journey because the previous owner did not leave the cover intact, so there's no back cover here. Now you may ask, Paul, why did you buy a magazine with no back cover? Here's why. I would rather own these than not own them. And to buy as many of them as I do, sometimes you got to pay for a competitively priced one rather than a perfect quality one. So even without a back cover, I thought this was a really good issue. I did recognize a couple of those articles from previous issues, which is what these Fearbooks were. They were reprints of prior articles. But it was good. It was a good collection. If you enjoy classic monsters and vintage horror, check out my book series, the Mourner's Woods books. I'm self-published on Amazon. I'll drop a link to my books in the description for this video, like I do in all my videos. My name again is Paul Edwards. My books are the Mourner's Woods books. Thanks for spending some time going through the Famous Monsters of Filmland 1970 Fearbook with me. I'll see you in Mourner's Woods.